We are spiritual beings having a human experience. We are members of a global family, each one playing a particular part and working together for the advancement of all. Join me, Jean Walters, on an amazing journey that will deepen and expand your awareness and your growth in knowing the truth, and together we will live in the light.
Our podcast today is about Earth School, and I forgot to say hello. Hello, Jean.
Hello, Pam. How are you today? This is a beautiful day in St. Louis, isn't it?
Beautiful day today. I love it, and I love being here with you.
Thank you.
And I'm excited about today's podcast topic, which is Earth School. Now, I guess you might say that we're all here on Earth, we're all learning.
We're all in school.
We're all in school.
Yep.
And it's on Earth.
Yeah, it happens to be here.
So, are we all learning the same thing? Are we here to learn the same thing?
Essentially, yes, but we learn it in lots of different ways. So let's say the bottom line, and I kind of hate to get to the bottom line too early in this, but the bottom line is really how to love and what love is and how we are love, and to kind of push away all the peripheral stuff to really recognize that as our true being. But in the meantime, we are dealing with a lot of challenges to that idea. And for instance, if you were raised with someone who was very angry, or someone who was very resentful, or someone who was just kind of mean-spirited, or any of those things, negative in some way or other, we can take on that energy. We can actually mirror them, or we can decide that we don't really want to be part of that energy, and we can make some concerted efforts to change. And that would be what self-awareness is all about, really, because oftentimes I hear people go, well, how can you love someone when they're so mean? But the bottom line is they're so mean because they aren't loved and because they don't recognize themselves as love. And so the truth that many masters have taught us is that we are all made in the same substance. We're all made in what we will call the light, or God substance, if you will, out of the quantum field. And so when we can look at each person and see that beauty, that profoundness in that being, we can look kind of past some of the things they do that are harmful. Mostly they're harmful to themselves, but they also could be harmful to other people. And so what we want to do is in a way, correct our vision. And that means we kind of push ourselves beyond what's on the surface, and we go deeper than that, and we recognize that pain presents itself in many ways. Pain presents itself as anger. Pain presents itself as resentment and mean-spiritedness. That's all pain showing up. And we can hold that against the person and against ourselves, or we can recognize that there's pain there, and that's what they're here to try to heal. So what I'm really basically saying is we can be part of their problem, or we can see beyond the problem and recognize something deeper in that being. And this is way beyond what we're practicing as a community right now, because we send people to prison, and all we do is kind of escalate the problem. And I really think that there's ways that we can do it differently, but I'm not the answer to all of that. All I can tell you is that we're all made out of the same substance. And when you see a baby, you don't see a baby that's angry. You don't see a baby that's resentful. All of that is learned along the way. And so what we can do is recognize that baby is still alive within that person. And so we look for it. And that's what Jesus did, and other masters. They saw the beauty, the humility, the truth of that person. And so that's how we begin our process of enlightenment. We begin to see the light. First of all, we have to do it with ourselves, because I think that people are meanest to themselves. that they hold all kinds of grudges against themselves. I'm guilty about this. I'm guilty about that. I'm guilty, guilty, guilty. and I always tell them that guilt is a state of mind, and that anytime you want to change it, you can, and they've been programmed. Basically, the thing is they've been programmed to believe that they're guilty. And we've got a lot of teachers, in our world. Everybody's a teacher, as a matter of fact, that teach that, that you should feel guilty if you're not perfect. But of course, that's a silly thing, because we're all here learning. It's not about perfection. It's about just doing our very best every day. So I hope that anybody who's guilty can hear this and just decide that it's time to let that go. It's a long answer for a short question.
But school is kind of an ongoing thing for most.
It certainly is. It doesn't let up, does it?
I used to work with a lot of docs who had continuing education. Maybe this is this is what we have too. Exactly. in our lives. So Earth is a tough place. Is it a punishment for us to be here?
But I think it's so interesting that you say that, because I'd love to know why you feel that it's so tough. Is it the challenges that you face, or is it the challenges you have faced, or is it the way you're looking at life? I mean, we can all ask ourselves that same question. Why does this seem like a tough question? We have challenges. And the reason we have challenges is because, have you ever been around someone who's been handed everything their whole life? They've never had to rise to the occasion.
Sure.
And do we see an exalted being when we see that person? Often not, because they've never met a challenge. So they've never had to draw upon their own energy and their own vitality to figure something out and to make it work and to figure out what to do next. So I think that we have this sort of false idea that if we give our kids everything, if we make their life pain-free, that we're helping them. And I am here to scream from the rooftops that is not the right way. And I'm not saying that kids have to be punished. I don't believe in punishment either, but I do believe that we have to face the challenge. So let's say you didn't do well on a test, and so now you have to go back and restudy or take the class again. Well, go do it. And this time do it differently than you did it the first time. And see if you can find your way through that challenge so that you master that particular subject. And that subject could be forgiveness, or that subject could be seeing the goodness in each person, or it could be so many different things. But we are faced with these opportunities/challenges in our life. And it's interesting to me to note that some of the people that came up the hardest, that had nothing, that were barefoot and, wearing the same clothes every day because that's all they had, were the ones that were the high achievers. Now, why is that? It's because they had to rise to the occasion, and they became an exalted being in the process. So I think we can look at life as punishment, or we can look at life as a challenge and an opportunity. And I guarantee you, either way you look at life, it'll be either pleasant or miserable. But we're here to be more than we ascertain ourselves to be. We've been programmed to think of ourselves as a body. Well, right. The body is like driving your car. I mean, your car is not you. You're not a Chevrolet or a Ford or a BMW. You're just driving it. And this body is something you're using in the meantime to express it. The whole purpose of the body is expression. And so what inhabits the body is you, is your beautiful, expressive being, your energy, the God power that you have within you. That's you. And so we need to learn how to access that, how to use it, instead of thinking of ourselves as only a body. How many times do people go and work out and get big muscles and all that, but they're not doing anything to cultivate their inner being, the power that lies within them? So they're off balance. I mean, they might be beautiful specimens, but they're missing something very important, and that is the depth of who they are, the power of who they are. Because if you set a goal and decide, I'm going to get there, I don't care what the goal is. If you decide, I'm going to get there, you will have ideas and possibilities show up in your life that will help you move through all the challenges. And I promise you. That is a promise.
Oh boy.
And there's no punishment in that. It's just that sometimes it's hard. Sometimes we have to pull everything we got together, and along with that, we have to choose who we have in our life, because we can have people that bring us up, or we can have people that bring us down.
We choose who's in our lives?
Absolutely, we choose. Now, we come in with I call it a family constellation, in that, we come into a paradigm that fits where we are in our progression at that time. So, like, I asked people who was the most dominant being in their life, meaning who was the most influential when they were a child. And for me, it would be my mom. Somebody else would say their grandmother or their mother, or different people, or their sister. But whoever that is, so you look at that person as the most dominant or the most influential person at that time, and you put a quality with that. So in my mind, my mother would have been critical. She found something to criticize with everything, and so I came in with this quality of criticism where I recognized fairly early that I didn't like it, and I was going to do something about it. So that meant that within every quality that we come in to experience in our family, for sure, there's a good part and a bad part. There's a positive and a negative. So with criticism, I saw that as negative. Now, I know it could be positive, but I saw it as negative because it was demeaning, and it was disempowering. And so I decided I was going to take that quality that absolutely was mine, and I was going to convert it. So what is good about criticism? And I decided you can find the missing piece with criticism. You can find the thing that's off. With criticism, you can look at something and you can see where it's missing. So I thought, well, I can use that to discriminate, and I'm going to call it discrimination, because when I'm working with a client, for instance, I can tell intuitively often just where we're missing, where we're off balance, where something needs to have more attention. And so I can focus there with that person, and we can find the missing piece of the puzzle, as I call it, and kind of begin to put things in place. It's in some ways it's magical, because once you understand that these qualities belong to you, you can change them. And for, if you're with an angry person, you can decide, where's my anger, and what do I want to do with it, and how do I want to change it? And when you change your anger, and when you convert it to passion, for instance, or you can convert it to willfulness, or you convert it to just the determination to get things done, when you convert it to something that's positive, then you can use it in your advancement, and it will magically change your whole life. So you cease being this angry person, and now you're this passionate person, or now you're this person that is determined to get where they want to go. And so you have shifted all the energy of your being as you do that. And then your life changes. Your life absolutely changes from that point forward, because you have eliminated anger and converted it over to something that's workable. So yes, we have lots of people in our life, and we can choose how we want to look at them. We can choose what we want to draw from them, and we can choose when we've had enough and go, hasta la vista, it's time for you to head out, because I think I'm finished with listening to criticism, for instance. It's like that.
You make it sound so easy.
It's easy when you understand. Because we all have some negative people in our life, with the woe is me, the woe is me ones, and you can decide: do I want to listen to woe is me every time I call this person, or am I kind of finished with that? Because they get to be a woe is me if they want. That's their choice, but you don't have you certainly have a right to how long you want to listen to it, or if you want to listen to it at all. Because if you see that person's never going to change, they love being woe is me, then hey, hallelujah, let them be there, and then just you move on down the road. Because the road has lots of people on it. You will never run out of people, I can guarantee you that. but we get to choose who we're hanging out with. And my criteria is, does it bring me up or does it bring me down? I'm not willing to hang out for any length of time with somebody who's going to bring me down, because I don't see any value in that. Hopefully our listener doesn't see any value in it either.
Well, that's a really great lesson from Earth School.
Yes.
Is that a kindergarten level? Or?
It's all through our life, Some lessons come easy because we have a certain wisdom we bring in, and some lessons are more difficult because we're really kind of paving a new way. But, from day one, we started being programmed. And whoever it is, whatever family we brought ourselves into, we magnetized ourselves to, there were a lot of programs there. So it's just like your computer. Every now and then you have to clean it up. You have to get rid of some programs that are useless anymore. And so your mind is exactly the same way. You have to be willing to clean it up from time to time and go, I'm done with that. And I have seen miracles happen when people decide they're done with it. So, yeah, it's definitely workable. But it's work. And there's nothing wrong with working at it. There's nothing wrong.
It just doesn't come naturally.
It does. Well, if you wanted to, it does. But you have to look at each person and see how much resistance is there. Because sometimes people resist because that means that they'll be the odd man out in their family. There's a certain thing about our tribe. We do things to belong to a tribe. Sometimes we do things that are really goes against our nature to belong to a tribe. We hate somebody else with a skin color, or we have biases, because that's what our tribe does. But when we wake up and just really wake up to who we are, then we recognize that is not helping anything or anyone. And then we change our mind. So it means that we actually leave the tribe. So that's a big deal, because a lot of people will say, well, I won't have anybody then. I won't belong anywhere. And I say, no, you will belong to a bigger essence. You will find a different tribe that has a brighter, more empowered essence. And that's way more important than belonging to a low energy tribal community, family group that is not empowering anybody. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
And now I'm wondering, Jean, does it require multiple lifetimes to learn all of these things that we need to know?
Well, it takes as long as you're willing. See, the thing is that we have a continuum of lives. So we drop this body, and then we pick up another body, and then we magnetize into a family that has the new attributes that maybe we've accumulated. And so we call that reincarnation, or we call it another lifetime. But the truth is that if I'm a fast learner, I don't have to have so many lifetimes. At that point, we might decide to come back just to be of help, just to be of service, to be a teacher, to help others. I mean, that's possible. So exalted beings don't see earth life as a punishment. They see it as an opportunity to either one, grow or share or help. It's or maybe a combination. So this body allows us to express. I can write a book, I can do a podcast, I can teach a class, I can talk. I can paint a picture, I can write a song. I can express all sorts of things. I can learn how to be on the radio. So those are all expressive things. If we don't have the body, there's no way to express all that. So the body is for expression. And then that's why love is so important, because we actually learn how to express love. And I can love without touching anyone. All I have to do is think of them in love. Easy peasy. But we also get the opportunity to express love. So I could write you a song and tell you how wonderful you are. That would be a gift of my expression of love. And so we have that opportunity to really learn what love is. And we've been handed many, many examples of unloving behavior. And so we get to choose that, or we get to see beyond it and recognize that that doesn't bring anyone anything good. And it's an ongoing experience. It could be fun. It could be a lot of fun, or it could be awful. I mean, how do you want to look at it?
What is it about helping others that makes us feel good?
Yes. Well, everything's energy. It's all energy. So when you're, I use this example in a meditation class I teach. I think about resentment and how it feels in your body. And, if you hold resentment, what does it feel like? And everybody says it's tight, it's close, it feels really hard. And then I have them switch to appreciation. And what does appreciation feel like in your body? What does it feel like when you think of appreciation and when you think about all the things you appreciate? And what you'll notice as your body opens up and there's this lighter energy. And you can do it with dowsing rods too, for as an example. But the thing is that when we give from our heart, when we're giving from our heart and doing nice things for people, we feel that expansion. We feel that higher energy of expression and expansion and love. And so, people that have learned a lot of lessons and realized that we're all here together, we're all one family, then we want to make it better. And so that's what expansion really is about, is raising your energy. You're raising your energy to a higher level and dimension. And that's exciting. It's very exciting to live your life that way. And it doesn't mean that you have to donate millions of dollars. It means, when you see someone in need, you help them out. Help them carry their groceries, or open the door for them, or, just be kind.
St. Therese of Lisieux, Lisieux, I forget I didn't take French, I took German. St. Therese, the little flower, said sometimes just giving someone a smile would be enough to change their outlook and their day.
It's so beautiful. And I walk a lot in the park, and I just make it my duty, or not my duty, but my privilege to smile at everybody. And a lot of people will smile back. Some of them are in their own world and they're not even noticing you. But I feel like as you walk through the park and smile at people, you feel better. You feel better. You feel better. You feel better. It's really actually very fun, and people like it. In general, they really like it.
We are social creatures.
Yes. And we're one family. We're one family. When we look at the quantum field, we all are part of this quantum field of energy. Einstein called it the unified field, and somebody else called it the holographic field, and it's the quantum field. And so we are all energy in that quantum field. So if you think about an ocean, and we're all in the ocean, that makes it a little bit easier to understand that we're all in the ocean, swimming and floating together. That makes us one family, one unit. And so as each person lightens up a little bit, as they shine their light a little bit more, the whole ocean begins to reflect that. So we're in this new age right now where it's sort of become time for us each to share our light, to be bigger than we have been in the past, to move beyond our own self-interest boundaries, and to be more of what we're capable of being. And so the ocean, the quantum field, then begins to change. And I think we're feeling that now. I think a lot of people are feeling that energy right now. Can you notice?
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah. It's very different.
Yeah, yes. And it's kind of odd, or we have to kind of get used to it. Sometimes it might feel like we're a little bit off balance because things are changing so quickly, but we got to get used to this. So, and I think that when I look back as a child, and I look back, I changed what I'm seeing from here to there. I see so many more charities and so many things that are available to us that were not available before, where we could actually take classes and learn about energy. And and understand so many things that we didn't even have available to us years ago.
We were very
Linear?
linear, or just I can't remember the phrase, where you can just
Television,
yeah. And now it's a much broader spectrum that
Yes.
I think people in general are just
Yes.
taking their step back and going, oh yeah.
Yes. And just, I mean, even music, I mean, it's reflecting it. It's just every part of life is it's a new world we're in. So it's an exciting time. We have to kind of monitor ourselves as we walk forward with all this, because, it's going to call for different things from each person, It's going to require some just putting forth a little bit differently than we have in the past.
And is this just in Earth School, or would this apply if there are is there a Jupiter school, or?
You know what? Inasmuch as I haven't been to Jupiter to my awareness, I would not discount that. But I think we've got enough to deal with if we just deal with Earth School, because if there is a Jupiter school, I'm sure it reflects the same thing.
What is it about being in this physical form that makes us experience and helps us to grow if we choose to grow?
Yeah. Well, remember that we're using the form. So we're here, I happen to be in a female form, and I express as that feminine energy. But I'm using that. And so, in other words, when I write, I'm using my hand and my brain to write different things. When I talk, I'm using my voice box. But what I'm expressing is from the inside. So the body is just making it possible for me to express those things. Now, the thing is, we can get hung up on the body, and many, many people are hung up on the body. I see that just really daily, and age is part of that, by the way. So they're saying, "Oh, I'm so old." Well, the thing is, the body might be. They think that the body is a certain age, but it actually isn't. Because every cell in your body has been recycled and re-updated and, been regenerated within the last 7 years. And that's been proven scientifically. So if we want to say how old is the body, it's 7 years at the oldest. But in our mind, we formulated an idea, and then the body is required then to follow that idea. So if the mind says I'm 80 or 90 or 20 or 30 or 40 or whatever it is, whatever idea we place upon ourselves, then the body will follow that. So if we say, at this particular age, my back hurts. At this particular age, I have trouble balancing. At this particular age, I can't manage this or that. So we have programmed just in this exact same way we program a computer, the exact same way. So if we say, as I mentioned earlier, that all people that are this color or that ethnic group, are no good, I program that idea in, and I'm living from that program. But if I decided to get rid of it and change the program, we can completely change the program, because age is just an idea. It's an idea, and here's George Burns, who was 100 years old, and he did his last performance, and I thought, my goodness, he was not going to buy it. He was going to be this expressive being as long as he possibly could. And so I do little debates with people sometimes, like, what age do you actually believe yourself to be? And what goes with that? Does that mean you have arthritis if you're that age? Or because people will let that age idea, the idea of age, completely surrender to it. And then therefore, they're not seeing themselves as a vibrant being. They're not seeing themselves from the inside out as being this energy of vibrational energy of light and joy and expression and creativity. They're seeing themselves as a physical body that is only going to be here for whatever this duration is. And it doesn't mean you have to be sick to die. I was talking to a gal and she said, I just worry about what kind of sickness I have to die from. And I go, well, why do you have to die from a sickness? And she said, I don't. And I said, no, you can just go to bed and decide I'm done with this and leave. And it was like this incredible relief on her, so we have these ideas that are so dysfunctional, and we don't have to go with that because science proves differently. So that's my little spiel on age.
So just clean your programming and
Constantly clean your programming. Pay attention to what you say. Oh, that can never happen to me. That's a program. Or I'm not good enough for that. That's a program. Or of course I can do it. I get everything done that I ever want to do. That's a program. So we have to pay attention to all we have to do is listen to how we speak, and the programs are right there.
And you know how we really hear ourselves speak? When we hear our children.
What a great thought. I mean, that is true. Oh my gosh, and then you just laugh and go, oh my gosh, I remember saying that.
I got to watch what I say.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you don't want them to say it, then you better not be saying it. That's for sure.
Jean, I remember years ago when you told me something that really shattered my my thoughts.
Okay.
That thoughts are things.
Yes.
And is that something we learn in Earth School?
Yes. Yeah, well, we pick it up, usually from our parents or whoever raised us, and you can look outside and it's raining and go, oh, it's going to be a rough day. It's raining. And then I think, why do you want to do that? Maybe you want to say, oh my gosh, I'm so glad it's raining. The plants need rain so badly, and it's a wonderful day, or the air is clean. And so it's how we want to address things. But most of that we don't give thought to. We just assume whatever's been handed us. And so thoughts are things because there's a certain energetic level to every thought. And so we're actually programming ourselves with every thought. And that's daunting, isn't it? It's very daunting.
Has anybody ever graduated from Earth School?
Yes, absolutely. We understand these wonderful masters that have come in and taught us. I mean, Jesus is in the Western world. Jesus is one of the big guys that, he came in with these wonderful teachings that we have the opportunity to learn and practice. And oftentimes we say them, but we don't do them, which is kind of sad. But he graduated. But it's been known that he appears here and he appears there and he shows up in different places. So he graduated, but is he just kind of coming back to say, hey, I'm still here and I'm available and I can help you? And I actually believe that's true, but I feel like masters that have learned it and they're living it. I mean, that's the key right there. They're living it. They've graduated. But oftentimes they show up anyway because they want to help. And that's sort of a sign of a master,
Are there many of them?
I think there are many, because this has been going on for a long, long time. I think there are many, but and I have lots of books about these masters, but they say the same things. They say the same. Jesus said the things that Jesus was teaching, they were teaching also. So the truth doesn't change. The truth is always the same. It's how we go about it that's different. So we have so many choices of how we go about it, but the truth is always the truth. That love is the basis of everything. And when you see bad behavior, the thing I'm very well aware of is that bad behavior is always coming from fear. It's always fear-based. And so it's a shame that we've been taught so many things, so many ways to be afraid. But, as my son will say, he says this, my mom doesn't do fear. But the reason I don't do fear is because I had a mother that did fear. And she walked it and talked it, and she was just afraid all the time. And I could see, even as a child, the damage it was doing to her. I could see how it was harming her. And because of closed-mindedness, because of health issues, because fear has such a dynamic energy of powerlessness that it affects your whole being. So that's why I chose a long time ago to give up fear. I'm not doing fear. Not doing fear because wherever I go, I'm taking with me my total vibrancy, and I'm taking with me all the masters. So I have help available if I need it, and I can call upon it, and anybody can really. And then people will show up, things will happen. It's all available. We just have to practice it, It's just practicing.
It's like learning how to play an instrument.
Exactly. Learning how to drive a car, learning how to do any of those things. We just practice until we get better. Mm-hmm. It's not so bad. It's kind of nice.
Jean, how do you think we can get the most out of our current Earth School experience that we're all having?
Well, first of all, define it. What is is it an illness? Is it a difficult person we're dealing with? Define what it is, and then you can begin to look for the opposite. So, for instance, not that long ago, I realized that I was kind of burnt out in certain ways. Like I had been I've been teaching for 45 years, and so I needed a break. I just needed a break. It's not that I don't love teaching. I love teaching, but it requires a certain amount of energy, planning, organization. A lot of different things are required to teach. So I took a break from it, and then I'm allowing my energy just to sort of come back and become more vibrant again around teaching. And maybe I'll change the way I teach or what I'm teaching as a result of that. So I think things come around, we have these opportunities, and I forgot what the question really was.
Getting the most out of our current Earth School experience.
Define it. So then in that particular case, so I recognized I was just sort of tired to the bone with teaching that's a lot of giving, So I needed to just sort of take a retreat. And so I thought of myself as just stepping back and retreating. And then after, a month or two, my energy was sort of coming back again. I think that's normal. I think people do that we all need a little retreat every now and then. So look at your challenge and go, am I taking in too much from other people? Do I need to change that? Do I need to maybe get away for a while or find my own way to retreat? What's the nature of the challenge right now? If you're around someone who's just not ugly, who's ugly and not happy at all, then maybe you need to retreat from that and just, find a way to just ignore them, cut them off, walk away from them, whatever. So the bottom line is your energy is your assignment. And then you have to find a way to build yourself back up. And so define what it is that's tearing you down or depleting you, and then maybe you need to find a different way to eat. I mean, that could be part of it too, because we have a certain vibrancy in our body and our mind and our soul, and we need to keep replenishing that. Maybe it's time to meditate, and get into our deeper energy so that it can replenish us. So it's like find the nature of what the problem is and then address it from that angle. But realize always, always, always that there's an answer. There's always, always an answer.
If someone needs a little guidance to help them, what can they do?
They can call me. They can call me. But I have a website. It's spiritualtransformation.com. And of course, I have the podcast that we're doing. And I'm available. So I have books on Amazon. I have 6 books currently on Amazon right now, Jean Walters. And everything that I write is practical. So even in my blog, you can sign up for my blog, and every week to 10 days, I send out a blog that's always about how to be happy or, some way of building yourself up. And that's That is my job. That is what I do. But I'm available. You can reach me, find me on the web. Jean Walters and my spiritualtransformation.com is my website.
And you also are on YouTube.
Yes.
And you mentioned also your Amazon. You've got 6 books.
I have 6 books on Amazon right now. I've got 2 in my mind that I am formulating, but I've been making notes. So I keep a folder, and I throw all these notes in a folder, and then at some point the alarm goes off in my mind and says, "Okay, now it's time to put it together." Okay, and then I'll sit down and start putting it together. So one will be on Earth School. I like the topic a lot, and I think that people need help with Earth School.
Well, I know I do.
I think everybody needs help with Earth School.
Well, Jean, thank you so much, and I look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you, Pam. It's been lovely. Thank you so much.
You've been listening to Jean Walters' Live in the Light podcast. Jean's passion is helping people live in the light. A longtime student and teacher of metaphysics, Jean aims to supply you with the tools you need to help you see the light that's within you. Jean Walters is a personal growth consultant, teacher, and lecturer. She offers dream interpretation services and Akashic record readings. Jean is also an international best-selling author of a growing library of enlightening books. Great reading for seekers and those who want to understand universal law, intuition, and develop deep understanding and personal awareness. Jean's website is spiritualtransformation.com. She offers 2 YouTube channels, at Jean M. Walters and at Jean Walters 7221. Contact Jean's office by phone at 314-566-5231. 314-566-5231. Her email address is jean@spiritualtransformation.com. Thanks for joining us for Jean Walters' Live in the Light podcast.